Alright, now you might be asking, didn't you already do a video on SCP-1548? I did. This is a different thing though. I know the names of these are like almost exactly the same thing, but yeah, they're two different things. So watch the other video if you haven't yet. Anyway. SCP-1548. Foundation satellites Malak Bell 1 through 10 will monitor the south pole of the sun for SCP-1548. Under Protocol Toyash-Vir, all Foundation space stations and off-planet bases within the solar system will have the monitoring of the sun as their secondary mission objective. Connections will be maintained with major space agencies under Operation Stygian Iris for enhanced monitoring of the anomaly, with accurate information of the phenomena restricted to specific personnel. As it is not feasible to place limitations on all solar telescopes, it is expected that civilians will observe SCP-1548 on occasion. Foundation personnel embedded in scientific agencies will disseminate misleading information on SCP-1548 and all thaumaturgic symbols that manifest, describing them as unusual but natural phenomena. All other information of the anomaly and related symbols is subject to standard Foundation censorship protocols. SCP-1548 is a designation of various solar phenomena, primarily occurring at the south pole of the sun. There are three types of known SCP-1548 events. SCP-1548-1, 6 equidistant ovular sunspots, approximately 40,000 by 15,000 kilometers in size, appear. The ends of the sunspots converge after 23 hours, often accompanied by the formation of a solar prominence that usually takes the shape of thaumaturgic symbols. A coronal mass ejection will then occur around the sunspots, lasting 11 hours, with the prominence dissipating after 5 hours. SCP-1548-2 begins similarly to SCP-1548-1. A solar prominence then forms from the side of the sunspots and breaks off from the sun, moving away from it, likely entering interstellar space. The event lasts for about 2 hours. SCP-1548-3. Sunspots form thaumaturgical symbols, which range in size. This can occur in conjunction with other events or separately. Unlike the previous two phenomena, these sunspots do not commonly manifest in any single area. The first recorded SCP-1548 event was on 17th of May 1983, where an SCP-1548-3 event was observed, showing thaumaturgic symbol 2201-V1. The event was classified as extranormal event 9008 until similar occurrences were observed, leading to the classification of SCP-1548. Addendum 1. Thaumaturgical Symbol Identification. The Department of Thaumaturgy has successfully identified and determined the nature of several symbols seen on SCP-1548. Below is a list of these symbols, denoted with V if they are a variation of the symbol. V1 denotes the original or first discovered version of the symbol. TS-2201-V1, unnamed, only seen in SCP-1548. If inscribed on any telescopic device by a person with thaumaturgic abilities, these devices will show psionic entities with malicious intent towards the user. After a total of 4 hours of use, users without psionic abilities will experience symptoms of psychosis. TS-381-V2, known as the Califastian Isle among various occultist groups. When affixed or projected onto a material, it will strengthen the material, enhancing its ability to absorb kinetic and electromagnetic energy. Materials may be hidden from sight as well. TS-1817-V2, known as the 12 Holy Owls of Serenitium, origin among humans unknown. When the symbol is affixed to a weapon or object used with any intent to harm, any entity killed by the weapon will annihilate the immediate space around it. The size of annihilation zone is proportional to the size of the entity killed. This annihilation zone has no effect on materials reinforced by TS-381. Of note is 61% observed thaumaturgic symbols pertaining to the anomalous Ordothon mythology and religious beliefs. TS-1817 originates from Ordothon occultists in the 1800s, and TS-381 has been used by members of the Church of the Second High Thoth, a prominent Ordothon group of interest, in avoiding capture by the Foundations. Why this is the case is currently unclear. Addendum 2. Event 1548-29. On December 23, 2016, several SCP-1548-1 events occurred in rapid succession. Although interpretation of these symbols is still underway, TS-381-2, TS-1817-V7, and TS-2201-1 manifested multiple times during these events. 20 non-anomalous or defined language symbols and phrases for protection formed as well. 47 hours later, 5 SCP-1548-2 events occurred in a span of 2 hours. Over the next month, a dense cloud of ionizing radiation began forming around the solar system, surrounding the heliopause. Though initially at largely unnoticeable amounts, the cloud increased in magnitude until no light from the outside universe had entered by 20th January 2017. The origin of the cloud is presumed to be from the sequence of SCP-1548 events, though the combined amount of particles produced was too small to form a structure on this scale. Of note is that Foundation telescopes have noticed tessellations resembling grids of pyramids periodically forming on the cloud. As the night sky is now entirely altered, Foundation censorship protocols cannot be fully executed. Dissemination of incorrect specific scientific information regarding the solar system entering a dense cloud of cosmic dust is still in progress. Scientific information describing the actual name of the ionizing radiation cloud will be censored as per contingency Galileo-2. Addendum 3. Recent phenomena. Following event 1548-29, a high amount of significant anomalous phenomena have occurred. The following is a list of these events, updated as of 26 January 2017. On December 24, 2016, the Falcon Light suddenly lost 50% of its mass during its flight to the ISS, causing death of all crew. Foundation satellites captured video of this event, showing that half the spacecraft disappeared along the midline, jettisoning any crew still inside into the Earth's atmosphere. Radio signals were received soon afterward from beyond the heliopause, although suspected to originate from the other half of the spacecraft. The decoded signals match no known spoken or written language. All plans to remain spacecraft have been cancelled, both inside and outside the Foundation. A cover story involving a faulty booster has been disseminated. On December 29, 2016, the International Space Station ceased standard communications and began broadcasting visual and auditory cognitohazards. All subjects exposed to any of these cognitohazards enter a trance state and eventually have their brain vanish. 2 hours after, Foundation satellites detect a sharp increase in thaumaturgic particles in orbit, all found to be originating from the Sun. The ISS abruptly changed its trajectory to follow a course that will result in its re-entry, certain to destroy the entire station in February 2017. Classification of the ISS as an anomaly is currently pending approval. On January 2, 2017, SCP-2713 was found to be entirely empty. Most of the interior of the building has been destroyed. Claw marks, scorched walls, and blood strewn across the room indicate signs of significant struggle. Reclassification to neutralize is pending approval. January 5, 2017, during a political demonstration in front of the Reichstag in Berlin, Germany, a thaumaturgic way leading to an unknown pocket dimension opened near the protesters. Koru Archpriest Farah Antius, Church of the Second High Toth leader and known person of interest, exited and announced that a shelter has been built. Further information is limited, as all persons in the area promptly entered the way, including 2 undercover Foundation agents. The way closed immediately after. Censorship of the event is in progress. On January 10, 2017, an unknown Eiden weapon was activated during the protest in Times Square. A violent explosion destroyed the entirety of Midtown Manhattan, leveling surrounding buildings and severely damaging other nearby areas within a 6-kilometer radius. Death toll is undetermined. A high number of Tartarian entities and demonic possessions have been observed in a 11-kilometer radius around the blast epicenter. Persons with confirmed connections to Chaos Insurgency have publicly blamed the event on a global shadow organization. On January 19, 2017, SCP-179 established contact for a single moment, signing Defend before descending below the Sun's surface and vanishing. The frequency of SCP-1548 events has drastically increased since this event, with at least 2 occurring per day. On January 20th, 2017, the radiation cloud fully obscures the night sky. Global anesthetization under the Inouye Protocol is enacted by the Foundation and completed at 78% efficiency. Several paramilitary organizations, which includes the world governments and anomalous groups, take this opportunity to attempt to further their own personal goals. Joint Foundation and Global Coalition forces have assembled to effort these groups. Efforts are ongoing. Have been assembled to combat these groups. Efforts are ongoing. Sorry, I messed that up. January 22nd, 2017, SCP-2821, following a sudden explosion in size to a diameter of 1.7 kilometers, vanished. The nearby lunar area 32 suffered a minimum of 38 casualties and lost 10 anomalies from the expansion, developing, and destroying sections of the facility under the anomaly's different laws and physics. Based on readings from Minkowski space-time monitors, it is hypothesized that SCP-2821 formed a wormhole leading to another region of the universe. This information to explain the newly formed hemispherical crater on the lunar surface is being disseminated. On January 25th, 2017, experimental Foundation devices began detecting tachyons moving at undetermined faster-than-light speeds. Analysis found that these are likely from a new form of SCP-3417 transmissions, though with major deviations from their standard contents. This is observed until abruptly cutting off, presumably due to radiation cloud. Further information is below. This is the transmission. All Ordothons here. All Ordothons must listen now. Stars lost. Ago, the first invasion occurred. The gods were unprepared, never comprehending the fragility of the universe after its creation. Lost. The extra-universal abominations invaded and the gods did not die, their duty in protecting existence. We would not have won without Ordothons. Lost. The gods defended Ordothons in existence. Ordothons defended the gods in existence. Lost. When united, we are strong. Lost. Worlds must fight. End of transmission. Joint Foundation and GOC forces have been mobilized for a large-scale containment and threat neutralization operations. Cooperation with various governments to assist in cover-ups has begun, though these measures are hindered by the decisions of Latvian, Estonian, and Georgian movements. And declassifying documents on anomalous phenomena in the Cold War paratech. All major containment sites are now under Level 5 security and lockdown until further notice. Addendum 4. Experiment 2154-37. On June 12, 1999, it was determined by unanimous O5 vote to enact a long-term plan to explore land beyond the heliopause. Mission objectives were to confirm or deny hypotheses regarding extraterrestrial SCP objects and to collect data on anomalous phenomena beyond the heliopause. As such, Foundation probe Seraph-1 was constructed and successfully launched on May 9, 2000. On January 27, 2017, an SCP-1548-1 event was initiated prior to Seraph-1 reaching the heliopause. Forming the thaumaturgic symbols used in predicting the future. Following the SCP-1548-1 event, an SCP-1548-2 event was initiated and launched. This one, however, deviated significantly from normal trajectories and curved shortly about 100 astronomical units away from the Sun, towards Seraph-1. Seraph-1 crossed the heliosphere 2 days before contact was lost from the intense radiation inside of the solar prominence. All information collected by Seraph-1 is currently under review and pending declassification. Seraph-1 exploration transcript. Seraph-1 is 100 kilometers away from the heliopause. The entire region appears as a barrier of ionizing radiation resembling a cloud and glowing dull orange. Highly complex geometric patterns form on the surface, mostly being 10,000 kilometers across. After an hour, the probe begins passing into the heliopause, entering interstellar space, and contact is then lost. Its connections periodically re-establish over a period of 2 days, though the only meaningful data obtained is a tachyon transmission from SCP-3417. After that period, a stable connection with the probe begins. Many pieces of equipment were disabled by the radiation, though a rear camera continued to be operable. Behind Seraph-1 are masses of high-energy radiation that resemble solar flares, encompassing the entire visible section of the heliosphere as a barrier. Thousands of thaumaturgic symbols are present in these flares, most unidentified. The identified symbols serve to provide various forms of camouflage, the largest being warding sigils used in the Orthon religion to repel extra-universal entities. At the approximate location where a Seraph 1 exited, a large hole is forming, with the flares dissipating at the edges as it expands. Swarms of entities can be seen in the distance surrounding the heliopause. The bodies of each entity are highly asymmetrical and possess numerous appendages and unknown structures. The only common features are a gray body coloration, sediments that erratically flash various colors, and fractal structures. The sizes are estimated to range from 10 to 10,000 kilometers, though some appear to be significantly larger on unknown scales. Two of these entities, hereafter named 1548 Omega-1 and 1548 Omega-2, pass by Seraph 1. 1548 Omega-1 is an eel-like in shape with 5 arms extending from random sections of the body, along with a mouth made of impossible geometric structures. The end of its body is surrounded by arachnid limbs and frequently flickering into being translucent. 1548 Omega-2 is an oscillating, controlling tetrahedral object, leaving trails of black rocks that rapidly disintegrate. As the entities near the hole in the warding sigils glow red, causing the red shockwaves to appear around one, significantly slowing their speeds. 1548 Omega-2 unfolds its body and releases glowing white orbs, which reach the sigils and expand into spiral patterns. The sigils demanifest and the shockwaves lessen in luminosity. 1548 Omega-1 passes through the hole and accelerates out of Seraph 1's view. High amounts of thaumaturgic particles are detected in the hole abruptly enveloped by solar flares. Hundreds of concentrated blasts of thaumic energy are shot out of the new flares and pierce through 1548 Omega-2, vaporizing it within seconds. At this point, the 27th January 2017 1548-2 prominence passes through the heliopause, encountering Seraph 1 an hour later. Connection is then permanently lost. SCP-3417's transmission log. Lost. All near ordothons must unite at. Cannons have been moved into orbit around the planets. The extra-universal invasion lessens. The gods protect us. The ordothons will survive. Rachmalos-san is dead. Gods lost. Lost. Universe is unprotected. Universe is not lost. Ordothons are not lost. Ordothons. The transmission begins displaying a sequence of spiral patterns and an encrypted image found to show an entity resembling SCP-2821-2 when decrypted. The transmission ends. A reclassification of SCP-3417 to neutralize is currently pending approval. Event 1548-35. On January 30th, 2017, Foundation orbital vessel SCPS Cortana was fully outfitted with experimental anomalous weapon and propulsion systems. It was deployed to neutralize 1548 Omega-1, which had destroyed Pluto and the Kuiper Belt object following its entrance to the solar system. The VTOL arrived at 1548 Omega-1's location, near Jupiter, and engaged the entity. Communication with the onboard crew was lost after 10 minutes. Footage from Foundation probe showed the VTOL and entity become surrounded by a black substance and vanish. 2 hours after the substance dissipated, and the SCPS Cortana was observed to be rapidly accelerating towards Mars at near light speeds, with an organic mass resembling that of 1548 Omega-1 attached to it. In 30 minutes, the vessel reached the planet and impacted it, creating a crater 400 kilometers in radius, ionizing the atmosphere and turning the surface into a molten mass. After an hour, the surface began to be converted into a black organic mass, which spread out from the epicenter of SCPS Cortana's impact. At this time, an SCP-1548-2 event, the largest one on record, occurred, and the solar flare reached Mars when half of its surface had been converted. A violent explosion followed, the luminosity of which matched the sun's luminosity when viewed from Earth. The resultant debris is expected to form a second asteroid belt within the next 3 months. Asteroid impacts with Earth are predicted to increase. As this event occurred 10 hours ago, all related data is still under review. The following is a text file left by the O5 Council on January 28, 2017. Seraph 1 was only able to take a single picture of extrasolar space, and this is it. All that's left of our infinite, ever-expanding universe. Our main priority can no longer be secrecy.